Good. Does everyone have their ovens preheated?
Yep.
Beautiful. Okay. I'm going to grab a pair of gloves and we can get started. I think everyone's on. Now that Virginia's on.
How you doing?
She got.
Christina's not on. We got one more jumping on. We bought her 6 and brought 4 over to a neighbor's house, so she'll hopefully hop on soon.
Oh, perfect. We can wait a second while you guys get set up.
They're club members too.
Yeah.
That's okay if they're not. We encourage visitors.
You have to stop and restart.
Hang on, she can't. She's looking for the link.
So I'm going to talk about the chicken while we're waiting. So this chicken we have, you guys have, is from Slagle Farm. It's absolutely gorgeous. The coolest thing about these birds is they're truly free range. They let them roam around like crazy. I've been to the farm. It's about an hour and a half from the club. The quality is insane. And if you look at these, the meat is really dark. And that's what I love about this. That darker meat is going to give such a rich flavor when we actually cook it up. It's just, I don't know, it's like a next level of chicken. It's really amazing. And then when we order them, I'm sorry if anyone here is a little PETA friendly. When we order these, I order them on a Sunday. They're butchered on a Tuesday and brought to us on a Wednesday. Oh, so they are the freshest chickens that we could get. They're absolutely incredible. A lot of big name restaurants use these chickens, like a lot of big chefs like Chris Pandell, Jimmy Banos Jr., Stephanie Izard, all buy from the same farm we do. And that's with these chickens, these Slagle Farm birds are just, they're incredible. They also have phenomenal pork. We use their racks of lamb in the wigwam, and it's the same ones you can get through the market. Just amazing product. And then we use their briskets to make our homemade pastrami. So I love the farm. It's great. But just a little backstory to our chicken and why it looks a little bit different. One way to tell that you have a good chicken is that the skin isn't like yellow and dryish. This is really moist, has almost a pinkish hue. That means that it's fresh. You know, as it sits, the skin's going to dry out and it's going to get that whiter, more yellowish hue and like those big dry chunks of fat. We don't want that. And that's why these birds are so great. So when we cook them, they're going to crisp up beautifully. They're actually going to cook at a pretty decent pace. We're going to leave the bones in, but we're just going to split right here. So you take the knife and run it right here to separate the bone-in breast from the hind quarter, the leg and thigh quarter. And if you do that, there's no bones of resistance. You're just going to pop through maybe one rib. I'm going to go ahead and do that now just to kind of get ahead. And I'm actually going to season the chicken. So just take your knife and run it right through to separate the two.
Chef, can you adjust your camera down a touch?
Yeah, we can't see.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Okay, so your bird's like this, and I literally took the knife and just came right through. One little tiny riblet bone you had to go through, that's it. Sorry, I thought you'd rather see my face.
Okay, you can put her back up now.
No, I could take a hint. All right, so for our chicken, we want to season it. So I'm going to season this with salt and pepper. Someone's oven reached temperature.
It's ready.
Now, when you season, you don't ever want to season like this, really close, because what happens is you're leaving little pockets. So the higher up you go, the more you get that snowfall effect, and it spreads more evenly. So I'm just going to season the skin side to start. I'll season the meat side once we get this in the pan, because we're going to go skin side down. And I'm just seasoning with salt and pepper. You know, sometimes some places use oregano and garlic powder in their seasoning, but I feel like when we cook it up, it burns a little too much and brings out a little too much muddled flavor of the spices. So we're just going to start with that. And then the other thing, actually, we should just get this done. You want to slice your peppers in decently thick pieces. So
Half inch?
Half inch is good. Yeah.
More inch.
About the thickness of your ring finger.
Okay.
You know, because if they're too small, they're going to turn to complete mush. But if they're too big, you got to use a knife to eat them. So it's a matter of preference, honestly. It's not going to affect the flavor of the dish. The onion, same thing. You know, just slice it. And then the mushrooms we're going to slice. So mushrooms, I like to quarter them because I like bigger chunks in my mushrooms.
Okay.
Whoever that is going to end up in the pan next.
Yes.
Okay, knock it off.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to heat my pan over a medium to medium high heat. And I want to give it enough time to heat up so that it's got a solid base when I put the chicken in. If I just turn it all the way up and crank it and I put the chicken in, it's going to burn. But if I take the time to properly heat the pan, it's going to properly caramelize the chicken. So once I feel like my pan has reached that heat where I could put my hand over it and I could feel a good radiant heat coming through, I'm going to add the oil. Now, you don't want a ton of oil because the chicken's going to give off some fat, and the chicken naturally has a lot of moisture content to it. So if I put too much oil and put the chicken in, it's going to pop like crazy. And it's going to pop regardless. But if we can avoid that by putting a little less oil, you can always add more oil. But if we can avoid it in the beginning, I feel like it's a little bit better. So I can see now my pan has hit that heat. I hold my hand over it. I get a great radiance of heat. I see the oil inside has all crackled. It's starting to look like, I don't know, crackled. And I'm going to take the chicken and put it in. Now, when I put my chicken in, I don't want them butting next to each other. You want to make sure that you leave enough space in here. They can be close, but you want a little bit of room so that the steam can evaporate. And the more the steam evaporates, the better your chicken's going to caramelize and sear and the less chance of sticking. And now that this is down, I'll season this with salt and pepper as well. Now it's just a waiting game. So the biggest thing, oh, we have a late joiner.
Hi, Christina.
Hey, Cristina. So, Cristina, you are not far behind. We literally cut the chicken into two pieces by separating the leg and thigh from the breast, salt and pepper, and then we're browning it in the pan right now, and you'll be all caught up. All right. So now you'll see as this starts to caramelize a little and cook more, you're going to start hearing those pops and those crackles. Those pops are water, turning into steam and popping through the oil. So you don't want to be super close to it. You do want to keep somewhat of a safe distance. If you have like a splatter guard, that's awesome. Emily, you can use, if you wanted to, yeah, you got a splatter guard. I was going to say you can use that strainer, but the splatter guard works great. It still allows the steam to escape, but keeps you from getting burned as much. Because all the Italian restaurants I've worked at, I mean, we just run bone-in chicken all day, and I would leave with splatters. I still have scars all over from cooking bone-in chicken. So you can see if you look at my pan now. Brian, could you spotlight mine? So if I take my chicken, it's got a gorgeous color so far. And it's got a nice caramelization. It's crisping up beautiful. You don't see this kind of crispiness from a commodity chicken that you just buy at the store. So I'm going to flip this and allow this to cook on the other side too. But that caramelization is insane, and that's going to give us such a great roasted chicken flavor. All right. So the other thing you'll notice now through this caramelization process is there's a lot of great goodies kind of being kept at the bottom of the pan. That's awesome because that's going to add so much more flavor to our sauce as well. But that's the exact reason why I didn't want to season with the oregano and garlic powder in the beginning, because all these little burnt speckles would have been spices, and that would have just been a very off-putting flavor. The cool thing is if you take and you touch this chicken after you flip it, it's already insanely crispy. Now, chicken cacciatore isn't a crispy chicken dish. It's just, by nature, it's not. I'm going to show you with this one, you can make it crispy and still get that braised cacciatore flavor. It's kind of a cool little technique. So I'm going to remove my chicken from the pan and lower my heat down. And at this point, I want to add in my onions and my mushrooms, but I don't want to overcrowd the pan. Again, these onions and mushrooms both have really high water content. So if I put too much in the beginning and put it all together, they're going to start to steam instead of saute. And I want to remove that water from the mushrooms. And I want to bring out the sugars of the onions. The other thing that's happening is as the onions and mushrooms release their liquid, you can see they're kind of cleaning the bottom of the pan. They're picking up all that little sediment, all that flavor, and this is where it's all going to start to work together. We're not looking for a slow caramelization. We're looking for kind of a quicker caramelization because I want the onions to maintain a little bit of crunch. So at this point, I add the bell peppers, the olives. What was the first you said?
Onions, then mushrooms, and bell peppers, and olives.
And now I saute this up again. I love sauteing my olives up a little bit. Side note, we removed the pits from the olives, but just be aware, just in case we missed one. We shouldn't have, but just have to give fair warning. So now my veggies are starting to stew down, right? They're starting to soften up and release some moisture. Now is when I'm going to season with my spices because there's more of a base in the pan. So I'm going to add oregano, and don't use it all. Use about probably a third of each of what we gave you. Granulated garlic, a little more salt. You don't need a ton because the marinara sauce we're putting in and pepper has salt. But now I'm going to add the chicken back in. And at this point, I want to deglaze with the red wine. So I add the red wine, but I'm not pouring it over the chicken. You see how I poured it underneath? That's going to allow the chicken to help steam from the bottom a little bit, but also maintain some of this crispiness. All right.
Chef, are the mushrooms sliced or not?
Quartered.
Quartered.
So this deglazing of the wine is pretty simple because we're not looking to reduce the wine down. We just want to cook out the alcohol smell. So if you take your hand and do one of these to pull it, you look really like you're a chef that knows what you're doing, but you're also checking to see if there's alcohol. And if there's alcohol in there, you're going to get a burn up here, right in your sinuses. You want to not have that burn. So like this one already doesn't have it. You can see how quick it goes. There will be a little of an acid smell because of the onion or the olives, but you'll know the difference when you smell it. So I'm going to remove a piece of my chicken just so I have some space. And now I add the marinara sauce. I add the chicken stock. And I'm going to add, I like these Calabrian chilies. If you don't like spicy, don't use them. They're not overly spicy, but they add a nice little acid punch. And I use a little bit of the liquid as well. And this is going to add just that over the top, like, wow, what is that flavor? And then you could say, oh, it's my chicken cacciatore. I'm an Italian master. Now we want to bring this to a boil. So I'm going to bring this to a boil and then take this whole pan just like this and put it right in the oven. And this is going to take about 25 or 30 minutes in the oven. But we'll continue to talk through it. I'll pull mine early so I can show you guys how to finish it as well. But I want this to hit a boil first, then I'll bring it over and drop it in. The whole point of boiling is just to combine and marry all the flavors as it goes through, and make sure when it goes into the oven, you don't have a section of the chicken just cooking straight in wine while another portion is just simmering in stock. The boiling is just kind of bringing everything together and jump-starting your cooking process too. Now this method here is very similar in terms of the building of flavors, building of a sauce, the chicken in here, if I were making chicken cacciatore. You know, so you could do the same kind of thing where your chicken has the skin up and you put it in the oven. But for the cacciatore, there's a lot more ingredients that go into it. Whereas with Vesuvio, it's just garlic, spices, peas, and potatoes. But this is one of my favorite Italian meals. So I'm going to throw this in the oven for a minute. I'll be right back.
Miss Beem, you have another fan on Facebook. Your friend Laura says hello.
No, right, so to be.
You're on.
Onions.
Hello.
Come on, Miss Beem. You got to show Laura what you're cooking. Make her jealous.
Okay.
Oh dear, no. I had to split it into 2 pans because I couldn't fit them in my pans.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay.
We're a little slow because our chicken was taking its time. Onions and mushrooms go in. They have a high water count, and then they go for, I think it was about 3 minutes or so.
So yes, the onions and mushrooms go in for a few minutes, and then you add your peppers and your olives.
Peppers, olives.
Then give those a minute or two, and then your wine.
Okay, peppers, olives. Peppers. Olives.
Jeff, I'm multitasking. I just took a gluten-free bread out of the oven.
Whoa! I'm not making bread. I'm jealous.
Multi-grain fennel.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Half
What'd you-
flour, sorghum, all sorts of different flours.
Really? That's cool. That's really cool. Have you been to that website, paleoglutenfree.com?
No.
Check it out. Their desserts are insane. They have this sweet potato chocolate cake that's incredible. They have chocolate cupcakes that are just over the top. I cook a lot for people with dietary restrictions. I use that website for so much.
I will check it out.
Definitely check it out. It's great.
Paleoglutenfree.com. Steph, what are you cooking on? What are you using as a stove top?
So,
Yes.
I'm using the same thing you would use if you're going camping. It's just a little butane burner. It runs off these little cans of gas. But if I go into the other kitchen, the hoods are too loud. You guys won't hear me.
Yeah.
So this kind of works best for what we're doing.
One more for you. What is granulated garlic, and why granulated garlic instead of
Garlic powder.
regular? Yeah.
So granulated garlic is a more coarse garlic powder. I'm not a huge garlic powder fan. I like those bigger chunks. Granulated garlic is normally roasted too, so it has a little bit potent flavor, but a little more mild. Using fresh garlic is fine, but there's fresh garlic in the marinara sauce already that we're adding into it. So granulated garlic is just another layer of garlic flavor. So it's not to just add garlic, it's to add that roasted garlic flavor.
Chef, what are these little tiny peppers?
So those are calabrese peppers. So they're little hot peppers that are pickled.
Okay. When do we put them in?
When you add your marinara and your chicken stock, if you want a little bit of heat to your dish, go ahead and throw them in with a little bit of the liquid.
Okay.
Oh, this is great. All right, I'm gonna pretend my chicken's done and pull it out of the oven in a minute. Oh, look at that! That sauce looks great. Look at that, Cristina, looking good.
Thank you, Chef. I'm ad-libbing here, so.
It's all right. It's looking good. The sauce looks great. All right, let me grab my chicken. I'll be right back.
I think we.
So, depending on the size of your pan, depending on the amount of heat in your oven, like meaning are you running a convection oven, are you not, your liquid when you finish your chicken, and I'm going to lower this camera down, is going to vary. But this liquid has all the seasoning and flavor we want. So we don't want to add more chicken stock or more marinara. So we would just thin it and adjust the consistency with water. Now, say the opposite, if my sauce was too loose, I would take the chicken out of the pan and boil it down. I'm looking for a thicker sauce, but I don't want a heavy gravy. When I take the chicken to see if it's cooked, I normally like to just flip it over, and then you can just poke in right here in the joint with your tongs or with a knife, and you'll be able to see if it's cooked. You're looking for white meat. When you do the breast, which is always, kind of the surefire way to do it, I take a pair of tongs and actually press it in. And then using a towel, I press it like that, and I'll be able to see, like I can see they're still raw in this pan. So I'm not gonna take this out and use it yet. But you're gonna let this cook all the way until it's cooked through. Take your chicken, throw it on a plate. And then we're just gonna take this sauce down until it's nice and thick. And just the smell is incredible. You guys are gonna have a good dinner tonight. But just boil down if your sauce isn't there yet. But this chicken should take a good 20-25 minutes in the oven. So when you take it out, your sauce should be there. It should be at that thick level you're looking for. But if you see this, I got nice big chunks of peppers. I got the big olives. I got a great deep purple color. Everything I want out of a cacciatore sauce. That's good. This can be a good dinner tonight. There any questions up to this point? Does everyone have their chicken in the oven?
No,
No.
we still have to put in chicken stock.
Yeah.
And,
Chicken is off and then chicken stock.
I don't know, John.
You slacker.
Marinara
No.
seasoning. Do you know?
Me too. I will say I've learned after doing this a few times that I need to chop and prep everything before I actually get on the call at 5 o'clock, and then it saves my sanity.
Well, I mean, the nice thing is we're all learning together, so it's fun. There's no pressure, and if you ever feel like you're falling behind, you just kind of stop and catch up later because you have the video living on Facebook then.
What do you, Chef, what do you recommend for the sides? Or
So
if you,
my favorite thing with chicken cacciatore is a creamy polenta. That's my absolute favorite.
yes.
Some people like to do pasta with it too, which is great. Just a nice pasta. You take some of that sauce, pasta linguine or a penne in that sauce. Goes perfect with the dish as well.
Yep. Very good.
So at this point, we're all just waiting for chicken to cook. Yep.
I mean, we're not just waiting, some of us.
No, we are. So if you guys don't have any, you're drinking. I don't have any.
Yeah.
Although I brought a cup, so. So if you don't have any other questions at this point, you just let your chicken finish cooking, and you pour your sauce right on top, and you have a great dinner.
Thank you. What about a wine?
Ooh, I don't know. I like something big with this personally. I love like a big, strong, super Tuscan with chicken cacciatore because the olives and like just all those rich flavors. I feel like it's a lot of richness, so you'll be very full after your dinner if you pair the two up together. But
Right.
it's great.
Very good. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful night.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Ciao, ciao.
Good night.
Bye. Buon appetito.
Buon appetito.